confession.
I have a confession.
I have a confession to make.
Past research has shown that people lie on average 3 times for every 10 minutes of conversation. Although this may surprise some, arts programmer Sharon Switzer of Pattison One Stop, in conjunction with Labspace Studios co-curators Laura Mendes and John Lochner, created a project to make telling the truth a little easier.
The idea that we came up with is a project called Confessions Underground, where we built a life-size confession booth and we took it to different cities, different street corners, and we talked to people and we invited people to come into our booth and to offer a secret or a confession, something that they've never told anyone, something that they want to get off their chest, and recorded that on camera. And then with those recordings, put together videos to broadcast on those monitors.
The Confessions Underground project was shown on all 300 of the TTC's subway television monitors. Although they were excited about the potential for the project, John and Laura had some reservations on its success with the public.
When we first came up with the idea, it was extremely scary to us. I mean, it was a crazy idea, the thought that 2 strangers could go on the streets and find other strangers who would be willing enough to offer us something very personal and intimate about themselves. So that was a really scary prospect, and actually we thought that it wasn't going to work. We didn't think people would be open and honest enough to participate in this project, and what we discovered is that people were extremely open.
Even though participants knew the videos would be seen by over 1 million daily riders of the TTC, with the possibility of being recognized, Mendes was surprised to receive so many willing participants who just needed to get something off their chest.
I wet the bed till I was 13 years old.
I think that we all have secrets. That's what's really great about this project, is that secrets are universal. It's something that we all can identify with. And a lot of people walk around with baggage on their shoulders and they don't necessarily have anyone to talk to about that. So as strangers, we were there provoking them to talk about that, to talk about this. So this art project really gave them an opportunity to engage with another human being. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is people actually want to talk. We have this perception that people in cities especially are closed and guarded, but I don't think that's the case. I think that if given an opportunity to share and engage, that they'll take, people will take that opportunity if presented with it.
As part of the Art for Commuters initiative, this project did more than just add color to the screen.
People who are waiting for the subway, generally, when they're looking at those monitors, are looking at the news, they're looking at the weather, the news, most of which are negative. Someone died today, someone was blown up today. It's all very negative, and that has an effect on people's psyches.
In the editing process, the co-curators were able to draw their own personal connections to the participants as they viewed their confessions afterwards.
It's been an emotional experience for both John and I. It has been really emotional, but really incredibly surprising, and really made me feel good about people in the city. Like I said, we have this perception that people are closed, and that's not the case. I mean, a lot of people definitely turned away and they're like, no, I never would do this. But I mean, we got over 100 confessions, so there were a lot of people out there who were willing to be honest and sincere.
One that I always go back to is there's this one older gentleman in Kensington who, it's a fairly long confession, and then he has these sort of dramatic pauses, but basically he just confesses that he stole his father's nude Marilyn Monroe calendar when he was a youth, when he was a kid. Yeah. And he's actually apologizing to his father over the camera, really. So it's just the emotions that he goes through and the way that, you could tell that it's something he's been holding on to for a very long time, that he's actually getting off his chest. So it really realized the project as we wanted it to be realized, or we hoped it would happen.
Confessing the truth may be a hard experience for some, but for many it can be liberating and empowering at the same time.
Father Damian MacPherson feels that a project that provokes truthfulness is a positive for society as a whole.
I think it's a great opportunity to allow people to encounter themselves in spaces and places that they were unable to do prior to this. You know what I mean? It's like the lady who held a secret for 40 years of her child being taken from her. You know, now the liberty that's brought her, that she's able to speak to that and address her in that way, allows her to grow in new ways, you know, allows her to take on new challenges, allows her to reach out perhaps to others, because you never know the extent of damage that kind of an experience would have been for her, especially if she held it close if she held it a secret all her life, you know.
About 2 years ago, I threw an M&M peanut at the head of a subway driver.
The removal of baggage and the sense of liberation through confession is based on speaking the truth. Father MacPherson explains.
Truth is accompanied by grace, and grace, as I said, sets you free. Grace gives you more clarity of vision, and it also makes you, it heals you as well, you know. And part of the healing that comes with truth is also what gives you that feeling of being dynamic, perhaps, you know, where it was sort of numbness before. Now it's a liberation, and as I said, and now I even think more positively about myself, you know, because I've been able to conquer that area of difficulty. I've been able to address it and speak to it and absolve it and move it along, move it out of my way.
Ross Gibson, a counselor and psychotherapist at Christian Counselling Services Toronto, looks at the deeper meaning behind confession.
When somebody discloses something to me, I immediately wonder, what's the motivation? What are they looking for? And given the particular psychotherapeutic theories that inform my work, what I look for is, what unmet need are they trying to get met by raising material that they're raising in a confessional manner?
By investigating confession, Ross has gained an understanding of the possible motivation behind it.
It's probably equally guilt and shame. Guilt being about things that people have done that they know have injured other people, but they also will confess a feeling of worthlessness. Shame is about who I am, that there's something fundamentally wrong with who I am. And confession that comes from shame is, I'm not sure it's very helpful. But confession that comes from clear sense of guilt for what I've done can be. Training at all.
Gibson concludes that most confessors have one goal in mind.
My experience has led me to believe that most people are looking for freedom. Freedom from something, on the one hand, such as freedom from just prolonged discomfort about something that they've been carrying, that they know that they've done, or that they've been fantasizing about, or whatever. All the way over to freedom from really intense emotional pain or guilt. And so that through confession, they're looking to experience, well, in theological terms, we might call it salvation.
The Confessions Underground project has sparked conversation and impacted some of its participants.
So some people leave the booth quite emotional. A lot of people leave the booth liberated, you know, they feel good. And really that's what the project is about. The project is about giving people the platform to say what they want to say, let go of some of these secrets they've been holding on to. We only want positive outcomes to occur out of this project. And that's what we've seen in talking to all of the people that we've talked to, that this has ultimately been a positive experience for them.
The secret is, I want them to catch me. I actually love singing. I love it!
John and Laura have received more opportunities to take Confessions Underground to cities in the United States and even Europe. Some more truth may be coming to a subway near you. In Toronto, Ontario, Akim Burke, 100 Huntley Street.